Hi, fourth graders. This is Mrs. Brand. We are looking at your decimal to fractions and fractions to decimal lesson 84 today. And we've done a little bit of this in the past, but we want to go over it and make sure that we understand what it's all about. So I'm going to get the pen up here and all right. So when we look at this, we have 4/10. And to know how many numbers are in the decimal, when you look at your fraction, you look at how many zeros there are. Here there's 1 0, so I'm going to have my decimal point and one number after it. Here I have 1 2 zeros, so I'm going to have my decimal point and 2 numbers after it. Here I have 1 2 3 zeros, so I'm going to have my decimal point and I'm going to have 3 numbers after it. All right, so you can tell how many numbers you need to have in your answer by how many zeros are in that bottom number. All right, so let's take a look then at the first one. It says 4/10. 4/10. 4 is my top number, so I'm going to put that 4 right after that decimal point. It's in the tenths place, so it is 4/10. We would write that as 4/10. All right, the second one, we have a 59. We have 2 spots there, so we can write 59. And remember, this is the tenths place, then this is the hundredths place. With the decimal point, we have tenths, hundredths, and then if we look at this one, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, just like you would be doing going the other way with whole numbers. We have ones, and then you can kind of think of that as ones, then tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000, and so on. And it's this opposite way going this way. One, or just a decimal, and then tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s, and so on. So here I have the number 59. So I'd write 59. And then I need to write where that last place is. Tenths, hundredths. So I'd write 59 hundredths. Okay, so we have the next one, 342 one-thousandths. So I have 3 numbers, I have 3 spots, so that works out just perfectly. 3, 4, 2. Now when I would write it out in words, I would take those 3 digits together. That makes 342. Oopsie, you made a mistake there. Let's go back. We need to erase. All right. Let's get that eraser into here. Where's my eraser? Shapes, polygons, eraser. All right, we're going to erase this over here. All right, now we'll go back to our pen. Okay. Okay. 342. Okay, 342 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So our label is thousandths. It has a THS at the end of it. Now if you look at this, if we say it as a fraction, 4/10. It's the exact same thing as this and this. 59 hundredths, 59 hundredths. Every single one of these say the same thing going across. 342 thousandths, 342 thousandths, 342 thousandths. Okay, so we can look at that and understand that you know how many numbers are supposed to be in there by looking at the number of zeros and then writing that in like that. Okay, so decimal point and then how many zeros you'd have, that's how many numbers you'd have. Now, the next one is writing a mixed number as a decimal. Writing as a mixed number as a decimal. You have your whole numbers. those stay the same. Those don't change. So I put my 4 here. And I put my decimal point. Now I have how many zeros? 1, 2. So I have 2 numbers after the decimal point. And because we have nice numbers like hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, that's fine. We can't do that if it's like 34 50ths. We can't just write 34 after there. It's only because we're dealing with tens, hundreds, thousands that we can. All right, so we have a 34 there, 2 digits, 2 digits. So I would have 4 and 34 hundredths. And I could write that over here too, 4 and 34 hundredths. And again, you need that label at the end. Anytime you have a fraction like that, you need to have that hundredths. Even if there's, it's not 4.34. We say 4. Remember, the decimal point means the word and. That's always the case for us. 4 and 34 hundredths. It's hundredths because it's in the tenths hundredths column. All right, here's another one. 5 and 7 100ths. So 100, I have the number 5. We keep that the same. It's a whole number. Decimal point, I have 2 zeros, 2 numbers after the decimal point. So think of it as money. You have 7 cents out of $1. So would your 7 go here, or would your 7 go here? Well, because it's 7 hundredths, it would have to go in the hundredths column. And then what number do you think goes here? Well, if I have 7 pennies, how many dimes do I have? 0. So I put my 0 in there. And I have 5 and 7 hundredths. So when I write it out, I would do the same thing. 5 and 7 hundredths. Oops. There we go. All right. So 5 and 7 hundredths. 1, 2 zeros, 1, 2 places after the decimal point. When we have this one here, look at, we have 1, 2, 3 zeros. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal point. My decimal point goes in between my whole number and my fraction. My whole number is 13, so I'm going to put my 13 over here. Then I have 832, 832. Oh, how nice. I have 3 digits and 3 blanks. So we're going to write 8, 3, and 2 on there. And that would be my mixed number going into a decimal. So how do I write it? Well, we write what's before it. Before the decimal point, I have 13. So I write 13. Decimal point means and. 832. The whole number right there. 832. 800. 32, and then of course I'm in the what place? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. You can tell that down here too. Tenths, hundred, thousandths. So we're going to put thousandths under there. All right. So that mixed number, we've got the whole number before the decimal. Then we have the decimal. We see how many places after it, and then we have that number on there. And then writing it in words, just like I did there. Okay? The last thing we're going to look is turning decimals into fractions. Turning those decimals into fractions. If I have a number before the decimal, that's my whole number. So we're going to write our 4 there. Here I don't have one, so I don't write one. Here I have a 9, so I'm going to have 9 there. All right, so I write that whole number. Now the next part is the part that is the fraction. I have 75. I'm going to write it there. And I'm in the tenths, hundredths. I'm in the hundredths column. Because I'm in the hundredths column, I'm going to write 100 on the bottom. That would be the same as like $4.75 or 4.75 out of a dollar. Now here I have 0.025. 0.025, well, I have 1, 2, 3 digits there. So I have the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths, 1,000th. So I've got to have that 1,000 on the bottom. That's where we just have to know this: tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So if I have the thousandths, I have to have 1,000 on the bottom. And then my number that's there goes up on the top, so I have my 25 up there. So that's 25 1,000ths. Again, we have to look at how many digits are after the decimal point. And that's how many zeros go over here. 2 digits after the decimal point, 2 zeros in my denominator. 3 numbers after the decimal point, 3 numbers in my denominator. Okay? 9 is my whole number. Now I have 486. That's going to go as my numerator. And then my denominator, ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, or 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 zeros with that 1 in front of it. So we have 9 and 486 1,000ths. Okay. So that is what we're looking at for today. Reviewing that again, our whole number, the decimal, at what's after that goes on top. There's the numbers on top for the numerator, and then my denominator, a 1 with 1, 2 zeros after it because there's two numbers after the decimal point. A 1 with 1, 2, 3 zeros after it because there's 3 numbers after the decimal point. The number on top, the 1 with 1, 2, 3 zeros because there's 3 numbers in there. And then again, going backwards, 4 and 34 hundredths, 2 digits after the decimal point because there's 2 zeros in the denominator. 2 zeros in the denominator here, 2 zeros, or 2 numbers here. 3 zeros here, so 3 numbers here. Okay? That is your lesson for today. You can always go back and look at it. You have a worksheet with 84, lesson 84. A few little things that I want to remind you of. When you are doing a square root, remember that, we'll go to a clean page so I can just show you this. When you're doing a square root, all right, if I have a square root of 49, remember it's saying what times itself equals 49. So you can only be the same number here. 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3. When you get to 7 times 7 would equal 49. So the square root of 49 would equal 7. All right, so remember how to find that square root. And there's a few directions that I put onto your worksheet for today. Also, when you're doing that long division process, if I have $42.12, I divide that by 6. How many 6s can I get out of 42? 7. That goes on the roof. Roof times the door ends up on the floor. Sisters next. Sister subtract. Brother in town, so bring them on down. How many 6s can I get out of 1? 0. 0 goes on the roof. Roof times door ends up on the floor. Sister subtract. 1. Brother in town, so bring him on down. How many 6s can I get out of 12? 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Sister subtract. 0 remainder. So I put my decimal and my dollar sign. I'd have $7.02. If there was no decimal point or anything, remember you have to finish this out. If you say how many 6s do I get out of 12? 2. You do dad, but you don't have mom. You're going to think that there's a remainder of 12, but there's not. So we have to go and finish the process. All right, and then check your work when you're done. 702 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12, carry my 1. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 6 times 7 is 42. I get $42.12. Okay, with no remainders. If I had a remainder, I'd add it in at the bottom there, and that would give me my answer. All right, so make sure you're looking at that process when you're going through things. Remember how many gallons, or no, you don't have to remember that yet. Okay. Acute angles, obtuse angles, that type of thing. Remember, if we have a 90-degree angle, that's like that. So anything less than 90, you've got a less than 90 there. If it's more than 90, it would look something like that. Okay, so this is that 90-degree angle, that right angle. We have an acute angle here. We have an obtuse angle there. Just some review things that you might want to think about. Okay, I hope you have a good day, and I hope that your math goes well. And please continue to review through your all of your math facts. Go to ABC or any of those type of math sites and do some of those games to keep up on those math facts. Miss you guys. Bye-bye.